about events. So we will try to finish up these two concepts in today's session. And about select options, you already know we did use that in one of our program previously. So let's try to understand in detail about the select options and how it is useful to us in our ABAP programming. Okay. So basically, select options is actually the keyword. So we use for declaring the variables, the way how we use data as the keyword, select options is a kind of keyword. So this select options is useful for accepting the data from user on the selection screen. So you place the select options on the selection screen. Okay. So it is like an interface so that the user can input the data. So the advantage of select options is it can accept multiple values. It can accept multiple values. Whereas in the initial days of the programming, which you have learned so far, you were using parameters. So in case of the concept of parameters, it accepts only single values. But in case of select options, it accepts multiple values. It accepts ranges as well. Ranges means, for example, from some material number to some two material number. It means material number 100 to 1000. It means between 100 to 1000. Okay, so whichever the materials are available in the system, it brings to you. Okay, if your requirement is that. Okay, if you don't want the material numbers between 100 to 1000, let us suppose, you can exclude them. You can include them, you can exclude them also. Okay, so likewise, we have different advantages of select options. So let's see one after the other. Basically, to use select options, we use the syntax as select options. We use the variable name like s underscore that field for table and the field name. Okay, the table here is your database table, and the field is the field from that respective database table. So by addition of this statement, what happens when you execute your program? Immediately for this field s underscore field, you will see a select option available on the selection screen. Okay, and we'll see that. So this is how it looks like. If you see your material number, industry, sector, and the material type, as soon as you say select options material number for the field material number, you can see this is the lower limit. We call this as the higher limit. Okay, the left side option which we have for entering the data, that field, we call it as the lower limit, and we call this as the higher limit. Okay, lower limit and higher limit. And you can see industry sector also has lower limit, also has higher limit. Also for the material type, you have lower limit, also you have higher limit. So just make available of this option to the respective field, okay, which is actually useful to you in case of your programming. Okay, so it means, what I mean is, don't add this to every field because sometimes some fields will not be like used for select options. They can be only used with respect to, I mean for which for the fields which is not relevant to select options, please don't use them. Okay, so for the fields which is relevant to the select options, don't use them. But for the fields which are relevant usage of the select options, you just make use of them. You can come to know whether we can use or not with respect to the.
This meeting is being recorded.
When once you when once you see this data, when once you see the data, then definitely you will be able to understand whether you have to use the select options or not. Okay, fine. So in the select options actually acts like an internal table. We know already the concept of internal table, work area. We have seen many examples so far. So similarly, select options work like an internal table. So this has the implicit header line. It means it has the implicit work area. The work area of the select options and the internal table name both are same. Okay, the work area of the select options and the internal table name both are actually same. Both of them will be same. So that is by default when you declare a variable as a select options. When you declare a variable as a select options, by default internally a internal table is created. An internal table is created, and along with the internal table, it has its own work area. And what are the fields inside these select options? You see the fields as sign, option, low, and high. These are the four fields which will be part of the select options. Okay, these are the four fields part of the select options. It means these are the four fields which are part of the internal table created for that select options. Okay, let us see how we make use of the sign, option, low, and high. Okay, so remember there will be four fields, and these fields are by default created as and when you declare the statement to select options for that respective field. Okay. So when we talk about sign, when we talk about the sign tells you whether you have to include the data or whether you have to exclude the data. Okay, whether you have to include the data or whether you have to exclude the data. When you say include, as I told you, if you see the example of this, okay, when I say material number, I give some number here from, and when I give here to, from and to, the default, it tries to include the data. Okay, the sign will be here. In this case, the sign is I, and okay, that's the sign will be I means include the data between 100 to some 1000. It means between 100 to 1000 we need the data for the material number. Okay, so that is the understanding. So that is the example with respect to the include. By default it will be include. If it is exclude, then it means if I give 100 in the lower limit and 100 in the 1000 in the upper limit, it means we don't want the materials between 100 to 1000. Between 100 to 1000 we don't want. It means what is the meaning of that? It will take, the system will pick up to 100, it will pick the data. 100 to 1000, it will exclude the data. After 1000 to the next limit, whichever the data is available, it will pick the data. So that's about the exclude records. Okay, include is to make that range. Within that range, it will pick the data. When you say exclude, just it will just exclude that data which you are giving in the select options, and the rest of the data the system will pick as per your select query. Okay, so that's about the sign. So in sign we have two conditions here, I mean two options over here. One is include, the other one is exclude. When you say include, it will consider only that range of data between that include, and if you say exclude, then it excludes that respective records which will be with respect to that matching condition. Okay, so that's about sign. Next, when we talk about option, you see here options are like equal to, EQ means equal to, NE means not equal to, GT means greater than. So you will have less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, between, not between, contains pattern, not like pattern. These are the different options available for you for the option. By default, it will take between. By default, it will take between, but if you specially need something relevant, like for example, you want not between, it means not within that range, and then you will say not between. Okay, so you can use this. You can use these options as per your requirement. Okay, so this is with respect to your I mean the requirement as per you receive in your functional specification document. Okay, you will be you will be given some details like please fetch the data from so and so table for the so and so field, and you include only this range of data and you exclude this range of data. So those details you will come to know as per the requirement document given to you. Okay, so this option will work along with your sign option. This is not independent again. It will work along with your sign option. It means you will say include. You say include between. You'll say include between. Right? You'll say include between. You'll say include not between. Likewise, so there will be a combination of that. Whether you will say include or exclude, you will say these combinations. Okay, so this is about the options. Right? Next. Next one is low. Next one is the next field is low. So low means that field which is appearing on the left side of your, I mean, on the selection screen, the field which is appear the first after your field is the low. It means if you see here the example given here in the material number example, you see here this field is the low field and this field is the high field. Okay, this is the low field, this is the high field. So on the low, on the field low, if you provide some value, then that field with provided data will look for the option called sign. It will look for the option sign. What is the sign? Sign is equal to or not equal to or greater than, all those things it will look for. Okay, all those things it will look for. Similarly, when the option is high, you see the option is high, it represents the upper limit. It means which is on the right side as in the slide which I have shown you. Okay, it is the high, right? This is called as the upper limit, and for the upper limit it will have the sign like between and not between, between and not between. When you provide some data in the high, it means you can use the sign options as between and not between. When you are using only low, there is no high. Let us suppose when you are using only low, there is no high. In such case, you can use other options as well. Okay, so that's about the select options. And so this is an example here. If you see this example, I declared select options for my material number, taking the reference of Mara. And one more thing you remember, when you're using select options, you declare that table field, you're referring to the table field, right? In the concept of select options, you bring the table here with respect to the tables keyword. You have to use it. Tables Mara. So when you say tables Mara, it means the tables Mara will be part of your ABAP program. Okay, it will be in the memory allocation. And when you're saying select options s_matner for Mara matner, this will be referring to this table which we are using over here. Okay, so for select options, this addition is compulsory. Okay, without this also we can do it. I will tell you that later. But when you are using when you are directly referring to the table name, bring the table here with respect to the table's keyword. I repeat again, in the select options, when you are declaring any field for the select options, and if you are referring to the table directly, if you are referring to the table directly, I mean if you are referring to the field from the table directly, then try to bring the table with respect to tables Mara. You bring that with respect to tables Mara. Okay, so that is the addition or the point that you need to note. And after this, what happens? You can view explicitly like this: S matner sign equal to high, I mean 1, I mean I stands for include. S matner option equal to BT, it means between. S matner no low equal to your starting material number is 37 and the high is 80. You can say append S_matner. Okay, so these values you can explicitly give in your code, right? You can give directly that values here in the selection screen when you run the program, or if you want to append the select options with respect to the values, in the program, while running the program, also you can give this in this way. You see here append s underscore matner. It means s underscore matner is acting like a internal table. You said here append s underscore matner. It means this is an internal table with implicit work area. It means internal table name is same and the work area name is same. That is the reason why you said only append s underscore matner. Or else you will say append in work area to, you will say work area to internal table. So in this concept, by default, s underscore matner will act like an internal table because we are using select options. So it has implicit work, predefined work area, which is implicit. Okay, so this is how we provide the values in our, in the programming. Okay, so next, so it looks like this. So if you see this material number, so this is our material number low, and this is the material number high. Okay, so we can give the values like this, right? So this, what happens in this case, this range will be included, 37 to 80 material number, the ranges will be included. Okay, so if you click on this arrow mark, this is a multiple selection or multi selection button. Okay, so when you click on that, you'll come to know the ranges. When you click on that button, you will see this window, or this this screen will open up. It will have single values, select single values. You can have select ranges. You can have exclude single values. You can have exclude ranges. So all the options you can see when you come to the next screen. Okay, you can see exclude range. If you see here, if you see in this select singles, if you click on the select singles, you see in the option, we can see these values: equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than symbol, less than symbol, and not equal to. You can use any of these. Okay, one at a time, you can use any of that. And for each entry, the option can be changed. It's up to you. For each entry, you can make use of that particular value. Okay, so this is very good advantage with respect to the select options. Okay, and next, when you see, this is about the single values. Okay, these are the single values. Single values means I give material number 1001, I give material number 1002, I give material number some 5001. So these are the single values, right? Okay, and next, if you see here, these are the ranges. Ranges means your lower limit will be there and upper limit will be there. So for the lower limit and upper limit, you see range. This is, if you see these brackets, okay, if you see these brackets tells you that include. This will tell you include, means we include within the range. If you give this option, if you select this option, okay, if you select this second option, it is outside range, it means exclude. Okay, the first one is include, the second one is the exclude, and you see for the select ranges, you will get the options like lower limit and upper limit. So that's about select ranges. Okay, we have seen select single values. It means where you can give single values, as many number of values as you want. We have seen select ranges. Okay, it means you have the lower limit and you have the upper limit, and you see here when you click on this, you can see here the square red square box. If you click on this, it will open this screen, this window. It will open this pop-up. There you can select if it is a range or outside the range. Okay, that's about select ranges. And similarly, when you go for exclude single values, it means anything you give here, that will be like excluding the values. Exclude, by default, exclude means anything you provide here will be excluded in the selection list. Very simple. Okay, this is exclude single values, and you have options here. Exclude equal to, you say 40. It means that material number with 40, just exclude it. Simple. Exclude means what? That material number, the material number with number 40, just exclude it. It means don't pick it from the database when the select query is running. That's what the meaning is. Okay. Next, we have even exclude ranges. We have even exclude ranges also. If you see this exclude ranges, anything you declare here, okay, in the lower limit and upper limit of this exclude ranges option, when you declare it, it means that content will be excluded. Very simple, that content will be excluded. So what do you mean? Exclude, if you give the range, exclude within this range, it means 61 to 65, exclude. The meaning is exclude in between 61 to 65. That is the meaning. Okay. If you give, for example, if I select outside range, it means if I select outside range, it means exclude outside range it between 61 to 65. It means just 61 to 65. The meaning of this is if I select option here outside, if I select option outside, it means outside of 61 to 65 you exclude. But don't exclude 61 to 65. It means include 61 to 65. Include 61 to 65. That is the meaning here. Okay, so we can we can we can use like anything when we work with the select options with respect to our requirement, right? And remember, we can use all the combinations as well. You can use all the combinations you can use. You can have some select single values, you can have some select ranges, you can exclude some single values, you can also exclude some ranges altogether at a time when you are really in need of going for such kind of the requirement. So that flexibility is given by select options, and it is very powerful for filtering the data. Remember, this select options is basically what you're trying to do is filter the data from the database table. It means you are going to hit the database table and with respect to this filter, these are all the filters. These are all the filters, very simple. Okay, with respect to this addition, the select query will work. If I say don't exclude between this range, it means when the select query is going to hit the database, it will look into these options, whether you have to include or not include. It will look into that options and it will fetch the data. Okay, so that's about the explanation. So we have already a program on that. I already explained you once. So let me show you once again that program. So if you see this program has a material number. This is the lower limit and this is our upper limit. So what I did in this program, just I will walk you through this program once. If you see this program, I have declared one type structure. It has some, I have taken some 5 fields from referring to the Mara table. I declared an internal table. I declared a work area. Okay, then I said select options s_matner for Mara-matner. I told you already, when you are using the table field, we need to declare this. You see, tables Mara, we need to declare. Okay, for example, let us suppose I comment this line. Okay, let us try to activate and see what happens. You see, you'll see an error corresponding to that. The field Mara is unknown, but there are following fields with similar names LT Mara and WM Mara. It means when in the select options, it is when you are saying for Mara, it is not referring. It is unable to refer to the table which is available in the database. Okay, so for that reason, we provide this addition tables Mara. When you give tables Mara, it means your program will now activate. So that is the importance. It's not simply we are using this. We are using it because there is a requirement or necessity. Okay, now we used it. Now what happens in this case? So we used it, right? When we used it, now let me execute the program. Now just look here. Now, click on that. We call it as a F4 search help. Okay, this F4 search help will actually pick the data which is available in the database table. Okay, you need to see the values. Yes, you can get these values. This is a search help which is linked to the database table search help. You can see these are all the materials available in the system, and whichever the material you want, you can choose it. Okay, we'll come to that search help concept when we start a data dictionary, but for time being, just try to understand this. Okay, we have the facility to select the materials from this. So what I'll do, I'll select this 19 over here. Okay, 19. Right, so let it be. Now click on this multiple selection. You see this select single values. Now I provide here 19 and now I provide here 20. Let us suppose say okay. Okay, when you say okay, it means you have the two values Okay, you have the two values, and look here, there is a small button over here. This is for options. If you click on this, it will show you equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than, less than, not equal to. You can play around. By default, it will take equal to here. I'm not giving any sign here. By default, it will take equal to. That's how. Just say okay and try to execute your program. You see, I gave 19 and I gave 20. 20 is not available. The material 20 is not available. That is the reason why it is not, you are not able to bring the data. If I say some other value here, for example, 20, I say some 21, I say 22, let us suppose, let's try like this and execute the program. And you see 20 is not there, but you see 20 is not there, but you see 21 and 22. Right? So likewise, you can provide the single values. But if you feel, for example, I can also provide some thousands of values over here. Okay, there is an option for you to provide thousands of values. What you can do, if you have such kind of requirement, what you do generally, you will have this combination. Sometimes your functional will give some data in your email. Okay, so likewise you'll give it. Let us suppose these are multiple records. Let us imagine. What you do, you just copy it. Copy from your notepad. Come here. What you can do, you have option here. You see this? You have an option for upload from clipboard. It means you said Control C there. All the data you selected, which is Control C, which is nothing but a clipboard. Already contents are there in the clipboard. Clipboard is nothing but a Control C option. Okay, now when I click on this, all the data what you have selected, it means this notepad data is there, right? These are almost 44 entries are there. Okay, this data I can directly select this option, upload from clipboard. All the data will come and sit over here. Okay, no need for you to copy each and every record from the notepad into this area. But finally, what data we have here? We have only 19, 20, 21, 22. The same thing I repeated. Finally, what is the output? We have only that 3 records. Because all of them are common, right? 19, 20, 21, 22. I repeated for 40 times. Even though I repeat for 40 times, don't expect 40 records. It's only the unique records. Okay, so this is how the select options will work. In case of the what is that? In case of single values. Similarly, if I go to range, what I can give here? I can give my range as, right? I can give the range as, I will give, when I don't know exactly to provide the single values, then I will say range 19 to 50. Okay, say okay. You can see here, my from is this and to is this. Okay, I gave ranges here in select ranges. Okay, by default, what happened? Here you are seeing on the selection screen. Now try to execute and see. See from 19 to 50. If the records are available, it will fetch the data. 19 to 50, the data is fetched. Now what I will do, go here, go to ranges. Here I click on this. I see outside range. I'd say outside range. When I say outside range, you will not see 19 to 50. Look here, 2, 6, 11 up to 17, 18 is there. Look here. You see this 18 is there. What we excluded? 19 to 50 we excluded. It means 19 to 50 records you don't see. But you can see from 51 record. You see this? You will see from 51 record. 19 to 50 material numbers are excluded. Because why? Because we have given an option here. I mean, we have given the ranges to exclude. We have given the, what is that we have given? Exclude we have given. So that is the reason why, we are seeing this. The same addition, what I can do, go here in the exclude range. In the exclude range, I give the same addition over here, right? And just try to execute. Now try to execute and see what happens. Look here, the same result you see here. 18 up to 18, the data is there. 19 to 50 data is not there. From 51 data is there. It means the same option what I did here, what you need to understand is the same option. Okay, what is it? Yeah, in the select range, if I use this in the select range, if I use exclude, exclude this addition, this piece of addition. Okay, so try to understand this select range. This addition is similar to making an entry in exclude range directly. Okay, got the point? Whether you come to select range, you give the values and you provide the option as select. That is correct. Also, instead of coming here, I don't want to come here. I directly go to exclude range and provide this lower limit, provide this upper limit over here. That's it. I don't want to select any option here again. Okay, no need to select any option over here. That is also correct. Both are similar. So the way how you use is important to you, right? So the same thing in the same thing also, the same explanation comes here. In this select single values, I say 19, I say 20. Let us suppose. Okay. Say if I want to exclude, what I can do? I can say not equal to. I can say not equal to. I don't want these values. Okay. I don't want these two values. This is correct. Also exclude single values. I provide 19. Okay, I provide the material number 19. I provide the material number 20. Both are same. Okay, but here no need for me to use any no need to use any options over here, because this by default it is excluded. The option itself, when you say exclude, by default the internal table will create an exclude. So now what I will do, I'll say select single values. Okay, so this is work to you. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to put a breakpoint at this point and click on execute button. I'll provide the values like I'll provide 19 here, and I provide 19 here, and I provide some 50 here. Okay, now I try to save this as a variant so that I want to use this for my future purpose. No need for me to enter on the selection screen always. Now click on execute button. Now you see in the debug mode how it looks like, right? So you see, you click on this s underscore maintainer. Now try to open s underscore maintainer. Try to click on s underscore maintainer. Just look here. You see here the sign, option, and low and the high. These are the 4 fields in the select options internal table. Okay, next. You see the sign, by default, the sign will be include. The default sign is include. Include, BT stands for between. Include between material number 19 and 50. It means when you fetch the data, when the data is fetched on the select query, it will try to pick the data between this range from 19 to 50 only. So I'm writing a select query, select the fields from Mara into table LT Mara, where Matner in. And remember, when you are using select options, always in the select query, the addition in will come. When you're using parameters, we'll say where p underscore matner equal to, where matner equal to p underscore matner. That you will say in case of the parameters. But in case of select option, you will say in. Okay, remember that point. You will say in, where matner in. It means why we are saying in, because that material numbers, you have multiple material numbers here. Okay, that is the reason why in these materials, you will say in these materials. When you say parameters, you will say where matner equal to p underscore matner. It means in parameters you will have only single value. No need of adding in over there. Of course, syntactically that will be wrong if you add in with respect to parameters. Okay, this is the syntactically correct version of using. And obviously, you will say size of bars equal to 0. It means whether the condition is true or false. Then you will loop on the internal table. You will print the data as and when you require. Okay, so that's about the select options. So what I want you to do is you make an addition of like this. You go for any other table. Not only this, you have many other tables. Make use of this addition in your program and try to play around. Try to include, try to exclude, try to uh, go for select values, try to go for range of values. Have a good practice on this program. Okay, so I have taken only one field for my to make my requirement very simple. But for in your case, if you want to add multiple fields over here, yes, I welcome you. You can do that. Okay, so that's about the select options. And remember, this will play a very important role in designing your programs. And also, it's very important when you need some multiple ranges of the data to be selected or excluded. Okay, so try to have a good knowledge on this with your practice. And for any kind of the questions, we can discuss that in our question hour. Okay. Okay, guys. So let's start the report events, which is very important concepts while we design our program. So most of the times when we design our report, so basically we design the selection screen. We design the selection screen. So what is a selection screen? So you know already up to so far there are many examples which I have shared. I mean, which we have seen, Okay, so like we have placed some radio buttons on the screen. We placed some parameters on the screen. We placed the select options on the screen. We placed checkbox on the screen. So these are all the options available for us, and we placed them on the screen. That screen is called as a selection screen. Okay, so selection screen is the user interface. It's a user interface. It's very simple. Like it is like a screen where you can provide your data and you expect some output from the system. Okay, so we call that we call that area as selection screen. So what are the key components generally available on the with respect to the selection screen? Okay, so with respect to the selection screen, I told you already the key components like the different kinds of parameters or select options or checkboxes or push buttons or some different kinds of fields with the file names can be provided on the selection screen. So the selection screen is basically associated with the report. It means in the report programming only, we bring this kind of feature in order for the user to provide the data for the expecting result. So when we talk about the report, on the report we have three important components. One is data retrieval. One is data retrieval. So when we talk about a data retrieval, it means you have some database related statements available in your program, which they are going to hit the respective database tables to fetch the data. So, simply speaking, data retrieval part tells you about your business logic. Very simple. It will tell you about the business logic. What do you mean by business logic? It means some ABAP codes of lines with some specific requirements are framed into some select statements, wherein those select statements will hit the respective database tables and fetch the data. So that's about data retrieval part. Okay, next, data processing. What do you mean by data processing? So once data retrieval is done, it means once you have hit the database and you have taken the data, required data from the database table and put into your internal table, the next part is processing the data. So how do you want to process the data? You will have some kind of filtering options on that on the data. You will have some kind of sorting options. You will have some kind of aggregations like calculations or aggregations are like average, some different kinds of calculations that can happen on that respective data which you have picked from the database tables. Okay, that's about the data processing. Sometimes, out of the 1,000 records, let us suppose, okay, out of the 1,000 records, you may have some thousand employee records from a table, out of which I want only those employee data which is active. It means that the employee data is always available in the database table, but out of the 1,000 employees, how many of them are active with that company? How many of them are active? How many of them are resigned from the company, or how many of them have got retired from the company? There are a lot of information that comes up. So the filtering will identify you which type of data you need. You want active employee data, you want the retired employee data, you want the employees who have left the organization. You can do such kind of processing on the data, right? Sorting, we have already seen, like you can sort the data in ascending order or descending order as per your requirements. Aggregations, yes, I'll try to show you an example on the aggregations as well when time comes. Like how do we do some kind of calculations, and how do we process the data corresponding to the aggregations part? How do we make use of that? We'll see that in one example. I'll show you that as well. Okay. Now, the next component is output. So once data is retrieved, once we have performed some kind of processing on the data, and the final is you need to see the report. So how do you see the report? We have an option to use the write. In the same report program, when you say write, like the example I have shown you, it will show you the data on the report output. Okay, you can directly use it. So how do you use it? You will use the loop. You will use the loop statement inside your program, and you will try to get all the data from the internal table. The iterations will repeat, and using that, you will be seeing the data in the output. So you write this write statement within the loop because you need to print the multiple records in the output. And apart from this, you have a concept called ALV, ABAP List Viewer. We call it as ABAP List Viewer. This ALV is a tool available, predefined tool given to us by SAP. Okay, we will dump in the data, whatever the data we are getting in the data processing section. We have that data in the internal table. We take that internal table, we dump that internal table data onto ALV, and how many number of fields, it's up to you, whichever the number of fields you want to use. That data will be available on the ALV. ALV will take responsibility of publishing the data in the output. Okay, ALV will take the responsibility of publishing the data in the output. Right? Okay, so these are the key components you need to understand every time when you develop any report. Now, coming to the types of reports, there are basically three types of reports available. I mean, you can see in the types of reports, we can see classical report, interactive report, and ALV reports. The classical reports, interactive reports, and ALV reports, these are the three types of reports available. And we will try to see in classical report, these are the very simple and basic reports. The examples so far, what we have seen, are explained with different concepts of parameters, select options, radio options, internal table operations, database table operations, etc. All the examples so far covered will come under the concept of classical reports. They are all the classical reports. We are fetching the data, and we are printing the data in the output with respect to the write statements in these examples. Okay, so all the data will be displayed in the sequential order with respect to whatever that we have fetched. And coming to the interactive reports, these reports will give you a option to navigate between the reports. Use you to navigate between the reports. So what do you mean by navigate? Navigate means, for example, you will have you will have one report. You will have one report on the you will have one report. Sorry, you will have one report. Okay, you will have one report, and that report will display some data in the output. Okay, display some data in the output, and when you want to go on to the next screen, you click on some field. For example, let us suppose this is a field. Okay, I click on this field. When I click on this field, it will take you to the next report. It will take you to the next report. Within the same screen, it will navigate to the next report. It will navigate to the next report. Okay, so that is what is important in case of the um, that is what important in case of the this kind of reports. Okay, so how it will behave? Let us suppose this is my let us suppose this is my base report. Let us suppose this is my base report. Okay, base report is nothing but the report, the report which is displayed, the very first report which is displayed. This is nothing but the very first report which is displayed. Okay, this is a base report. This report has some data. Let us suppose it has some data. It has some. Let us suppose I have the fields called material number like this. Let us suppose material number is one field. Some material type is other field, and the name of the user who created the is other field. So this is my material number XXXX, and the type of the material is some X01. Let us suppose, and who created this report? Mohammed created the report. Likewise, we have different entries. Likewise, we have different entries. Now, what is the interactive report tells you? In this interactive reporting, what happens when you, if you want to see additional details, let us suppose I click on my material number field. I click on my material number field. When I click on this, immediately it will navigate to the next report. Okay, here it has a different fields. Let us suppose there are some different fields available over here, and it will show you that respective data corresponding to the data. It will show you. Corresponding to the data, it will show you. For example, second report, you want some you want to show here some kind of material description. Let us imagine you want to see some material descriptions. You want to see material descriptions. In the first report, I'm not showing any material description. Second report, I want to show the material description. It means when I click on this, it comes to the screen and it will immediately show my material number, and beside that, it will show me the material descriptions. Okay, so likewise, I can prepare my requirement with respect to the interactive reporting. So this concept is called interactive. It means what? When I click on this, it comes here. When I click on go back, it goes back to the initial screen. So likewise, you can navigate between the screens as and when you require, as per your requirement. Okay, so that is the concept of interactive reporting. So basically, you will have the basic list. So this is called as a base report. We are calling it as a basic list. We are calling this as a basic list. We are calling this as basic list. Okay, and these we call it as the secondary lists. Here we call this as the secondary list, and this also we call it as secondary list. So likewise, we will have one basic list. We have one basic list, and you will have up secondary lists up to 20 levels. Up to 20 secondary lists you can have it. It means these windows you can go on adding up to some 19. It means 19 plus 1 20. So totally you'll be have the flexibility of seeing the 20 lists available for that respective interactive reporting. Okay, so no need to create all those, but just for your practice, try to create 2 or 3 and see how the navigation works. Like, see, when you click on the material, it should come here, and once you come here, try to click on some other field. It should take you to the other list, other secondary list. So likewise, you can try for creating this interactive report. Okay, I'll show you an example, and corresponding to that example, you can have a good practice with respect to your own example to clearly understand about the interactive reporting. Okay, so that's about the concept of interactive reporting. Next, coming to the ALV, yeah, I said already, like ABAP list viewer is a tool which is available to you, given to us by SAP. And ALV is more friendly when compared to your classical reporting style of presenting the data. Okay, classical way of presenting the data. So here, this ALV is more user friendly. ALV is more user friendly. In the classical reporting, you will see the data, and if you want to go up and down, so you have to use the scrolling area is more in classical ALV when compared to the scrolling is more in classical reporting when compared to the ALV gives you, even though scrolling is like a horizontal scrolling or vertical scrolling, whatever it is, You can easily scroll and go to the respective fields data for your understanding. Okay, ALV output looks similar to the Excel sheet. The way how the Excel sheet is used for representing the data or presenting the data, like you can move the Excel columns, you can adjust the columns, you can increase the columns, you can decrease the columns, you can sort the data ascending order, descending order. Okay, so all those things you can do on Excel sheet. The same similarities can be seen on ALV reporting also. Okay, so it will be more friendly, more powerful when compared to the other styles of the report. Okay, so most of the times we when we develop the reports, we always use ALVs in the real time also. In the real time environment also, we always try to use ALVs. Okay, fine. So now there are different events available in different events available in the concept of uh, reports, the classical reports. These are all the classical report events. There are different events available, and we will try to understand the events with respect to the concept. And I give you a program, and I'll give clear explanation on each and every event. Okay, so when you see this, these are the different types of events which are available with respect to the classical reporting. The right side, you can see these are the events which are available with respect to the interactive reporting. And these are very much important in terms of interview. You can expect at least 2 to 3 questions on these concepts. Okay. So the first event is initialization events at selection screen, at selection screen output, at selection screen on value request for that field, start of selection, end of selection, top of page, end of page. Okay, so these are the events under classical report. They'll ask you, tell me the names of the events. Okay, tell me the names of the classical report events. This is an interview question. Okay, so I myself got asked many times when I attended many interviews. Right, even though if they may not ask everything, they may ask, somebody may ask you to tell all the report events. Sometimes they'll ask you what is this event does in your report programming. Can you explain me about this events, how it does, how you handle it, etc. Things will be generally asked in the interview. Okay, so try to learn the events perfectly and try to be answerable as then when somebody asks you about the classical report events question. Okay, I repeat again. Initialization at selection screen output, at selection screen on value request for field, start of selection, end of selection, top of page, and end of page. Okay, so where are these events going to be used? These events are going to be used in our report programming. How to use and what is with respect to initialization, etc. things, we will see that in our example. Okay, so let us go deeply on each and every event, then we will see that in the program. And coming to the interactive reports, we have like initialization, we have at initialization, like top of page, we have top of page during line selection, and we have an additional event called at user command. Okay, so these things we will see in the next session when interactive reporting starts. Okay, so now when we talk about initialization event, what does this say? It says that it sets the default values for parameters before the selection screen is displayed. Okay, so I have taken an example of the parameters. I have taken an example of the parameters. So I gave here the concept of parameters. Not only parameters, anything on the selection screen. Anything on the selection screen can be initialized. Whether it is a radio button, whether it is a checkbox, whether it is a select option, whether it is any field where you have to provide some values initially. It means, what do you mean by this? By the time when you start your program, when you execute your program, and when you execute your program, before you execute the program, program, this initialization event will trigger, and whatever the values are here, those will be placed on your selection screen selection screen fields. What do you mean by this? Now I have a program. with my parameters. Okay, p underscore name is the parameter, and these are the two parameters I have taken. I want my name and address field to be filled with these values. Like p name is ABC and p date is some XYZ. Okay, I want these things to be filled over here. Okay, so in this case, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to I'm trying to fill the data. I'm trying to fill the data, and now I'm trying to fill the data, and now I will, when I run the program, it will immediately show me the results on the output with the filled data. So what do you mean by that? So let me open the program. So I have program for you. I'll just show you. Okay. I'll just show you this. I'll show you this example. You observe here. Okay. Click on execute button. You see this. So this is the selection screen, let us suppose. And here I have taken company code. Okay. Company code is a field. This is from and to. I have taken as a select options. And what I'm trying to do, see, when I execute this program, see here, when I execute the program, what happened? You see the values of the company code field, 1000 and 2000 are pre-filled. You are not coming and you are not filling it here on the screen. You are not filling it here on the screen. They filled and displayed in the output. They fill and displayed in the output. How it is possible? Possible because I said initialization. I said my select options low value is 1000. My select options high value is 2000. I said sign as I said option as BT, means between. I said append S underscore BU carries. So this is the initialization events. This is the initialization event. So it means initialization event will trigger, is the very first event that triggers in your report programming as and when you run the report. So let me put a breakpoint over here and I click on execute button. You see, immediately when I execute, it comes to your program goes in a debugging mode, and you find your breakpoint stopped. I mean, at the breakpoint where you placed your breakpoint, the process stopped. You see this? These are the empty values. Now press F5, press F5, press F5, and press F5. You see, these are all the values attached or assigned to your selection screen. This is low, this is high, high, this is sign, and this is an option. Okay, it means using this initialization, you can initialize your selection screen fields. So that is what the understanding of the initialization event. That is understanding of the initialization event. Okay, so when required, you can use it. If not required, no need to use. Very simple. So you will come to know in your report programming whether you have to fill the data or not. Additionally, that you'll decide whether to fill the data or not to fill the data. So that's about the initialization event. Okay, next event is at the selection screen. At selection screen, when we say at selection screen, this event is used to perform some validations. Okay, this event is used to perform the validations on the screen fields. This event is used to perform validations on the screen fields. So what do you mean by that? So what do you mean by that? It means you want to perform some kind of validation on this. Okay, for example, you see this, I execute this and I get the data. Okay, with this I got the data. Go back. Just imagine. Just give me a moment. Okay, so just imagine. Okay, so just imagine I executed my program. I executed the program. So remove this. I executed the program. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to remove these values from here. Let us suppose. Okay. See, you want to remove the data, you want to not remove the data, depends upon you. Even though it is initialization, is filling the data on your screen fields, it's up to you whether you want to remove the data or not remove the data. Now, what I did here, I removed the data. I don't want that. I may need some other data, not that values which are coming from the initializations event. Now, what I'm trying to do, let us suppose, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to hit enter here. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to hit enter. I'm trying to hit enter. When I'm trying to hit enter, you see this at the bottom. Company code cannot be blank. It means when you hit your enter key on this screen, the validations written for this selection screen will work. Why validations? Because you want to check before executing the program, you want to check every requirement on the selection screen is filled or not. So that is the reason why you will try to use the validations over here. So where is this validations written? This validation is written in my program. In my program, I have written this validation on this particular. Okay, you can see here. You can see this at selection screen on BUKRS. If you see this, company code cannot be blank. Company code cannot be blank. So this is written with respect to on field. We can also write this at selection screen on field. We can write that also. We can write that with respect to at selection screen. Also, you can write that at selection screen. Just see this and remove this. Remove this. Look here. Company code cannot be blank. Okay. Company code cannot be blank. Also, give me a moment. You can also have this company code cannot be blank. Right? So if you want to be more specific, then you can have that with respect to your field. So observe here, company code cannot be blank. So this is a kind of validation, guys. This is a kind of validation. So let me put a breakpoint over here and I click on execute button. Okay, I remove these field values and I just trying to hit enter. You see, when I hit enter, immediately my report event will trigger. You see, at selection screen. When you say at selection screen, everything on the selection screen will be validated. It means all the selection screen fields will be validated. Now what happens in this case? It will check for the select options. Check for the select option. Sign, option, low, high. It will check select options. Okay? It will check select options. Then what happens? It is initial or not? It is initial. Yes. It will trigger the error message. What is the error message? We have already seen in the previous class. Message, my message name or message description, type E. E means error. Click on execute button. You see, company code cannot be blank. Company code cannot be blank. So with this message, when this error message is displaying, you cannot go further. You cannot go further and execute your program because that is mandatory. That is mandatory. Then you need to first clear it. So that's about the select at selection screen event. That is about the at selection screen event. So you are trying to perform validations provided on the input fields. Right? Next thing is we'll see at selection screen on. Give me a moment. We'll see at selection screen output. When you see at selection screen output, when you say at selection screen output, this at selection screen output will be useful for dynamically changing the fields. Dynamically changing the fields means some fields you can make it as some fields you can hide the fields, sometimes you can unhide the fields. Those things you can do it. So how it looks like, just I will explain it. Okay, so I click on execute button. I click on execute button. You see there is a checkbox over here. Okay, you see this checkbox over here. I click on this. I click on this checkbox. Now, when I click on the checkbox, you see there is a option given to you to enter the text. There is an option given to you to enter the text. When I remove this, when I uncheck this, okay, let me remove the breakpoint because it is coming every time. So when I click on this, it will open the text box for you. When I uncheck this, it hides the text box to you. Okay, so for our explanation about the at selection screen output. At selection screen output. Okay, so this kind of facility like showing, hiding or unhiding of the fields, or making the fields enabled for providing the data, or making the fields disabled in order user not to enter the data, can be made available with respect to this event called at selection screen output. Okay, we call it as at selection screen output event. In the selection screen output event, dynamically changes the screen, or we are changing it dynamically. You observe it. I am on the same screen. I am doing some operation, performing some operation. What is the operation? I am selecting the checkbox, and immediately after I check box, my selection screen changed. What it added? It added a new text box over here. It is showing already text box is there, but it was hidden. When I clicked on this text, when I clicked on this checkbox, it has enabled me. It has enabled me the. It has enabled me the. What is that? It has enabled me the text box. Right. So it is happening. It is happening. It is happening dynamically on the screen. It is happening dynamically on the screen. It is happening dynamically on the screen. Okay, so that is what we call it as. We are modifying the screen dynamically. We show or hide or enable or disable. Okay, so this is an example for you to explain you the concept of selection screen output. So what we did here in the selection screen output programmatically at selection screen output. Okay, so to handle selection screen output, so we write the event at selection screen output. We write this event, and within that event, we will write a loop and end loop. And in this loop and end loop, we will say loop at the screen. And remember, loop at the screen. Screen is also an internal table. Screen is also an internal table, like select options. Screen is also an internal table. In this screen, it has different fields. It has different fields. So we will see that. So when we talk about this selection screen, this is our screen. In this screen, if you observe, okay, we have given the parameter called p underscore text. I said type C, and you just remember, for this I gave modification ID as MD1. Okay, so it means for us to enable the concept of at selection screen output, for us to make the screen field dynamic, for us to make screen field dynamic, we will add the modification ID. ID can be anything. It can be like MD1. I gave my modification ID as MD1. And next, I am showing the text box, right? I am showing the text box. This is text box. Show text box. Is this text box? For this text box field, I made it as a checkbox, and I said user command UC1. It means user command 1. Okay, it means on the show text box, I click on the text box. When I click on the text box, the other field, P underscore text field has to react. Okay, it means P underscore text field is linked to P underscore show. Very simple. Okay, so when you click on P underscore show, my response for P underscore text has to change. So for selection screen output, these are the two examples, two parameters. P underscore show is a checkbox. I click, I check, I uncheck. For that, I gave the addition as user command UC1, and the field which is going to react, with respect to the show checkbox is the text box. For the text box, I gave the modification ID as MD1. The reason why we are using modification ID is it is going to dynamically change on the screen. That is the reason why for every field that changes dynamically on the screen, we need to give an ID, modification ID, which is MD1. Okay, so this explanation is purely related to at selection screen output. Okay, so now what I did in the program, here in the program, when I say at selection screen output, what we are trying to do, I'm looping on the screen and in the loop. What do you mean by loop on the screen? It means anything. When I say loop on the screen, what it does is on all the screen fields, on all the screen fields, when I'm using this on all these screen fields. What are the screen fields available? I have the company code, I have the purchase organization, I have show text input, and inside there is a hidden text field. That on the text field also a loop will be performed on the screen fields. Loop will be performed on the screen fields. It will check. Loop will be performed on the screen field. Like the internal table, we have multiple entries. On every entry, there will be iteration performed. Similarly, in this loop at screen, on every field, there will be an iteration performed. Okay, that is the first point. Second point is P underscore, I'm checking P underscore show. What is P underscore show? P underscore show is my what? My checkbox. Okay, my checkbox. I'm checking my checkbox. If P underscore show is checked or not, it means did you check the checkbox or not? Yes, I checked. X means checkbox is checked. So when checkbox is checked, you are looking for screen group equal to MD1. What you mean by screen group equal to MD1? You see this for the P underscore text field, I gave the modification ID as MD1. It means for this P underscore text, I gave the modification ID as MD1, which is nothing but the screen group. It means P underscore text is within the group of MD1. So not only P underscore text, you can add one more field. You can add one more field over there, and that also you can add it to MD1. Okay, so list of the fields in that group will be responsive with respect to P underscore show. Okay, it means depending upon whatever the fields available in MD1 group, as and when P underscore show will trigger, when you change, this also will change. Okay, so that's about the explanation of this. So when it is screen group is MD1, I am making screen hyphen active equal to 1. It means the screen, this internal table screen has a field called group 1. Also, it has a field called active. Okay, active equal to 1. It means show the field. Previously, what happens here? Initially, what happens? Initially, the field is hidden. Initially, the field is hidden. Okay, the field is hidden. We are making that field to be brought onto the screen. And once we change these values, when we say screen hyphen active equal to 1, I say modify screen. Like modify internal table from work area, modify the database table from the internal table. Likewise, we will try to modify the screen dynamically here in the runtime within the loop itself. Okay, so what happens here? For that screen group MD1, we are making that field as active, which is nothing but 1. Immediately that will be visible to you on the screen. As in when you click on check box, immediately this code will work. the field will be set to 1 and it will show on the screen. If you uncheck it, it means else part. If you uncheck it and if your screen group is MD1, immediately what you are trying to do, you are making that active equal to 0. It means hide the field. You are hiding the field and you are modifying the screen. So that is how selection screen output will work basically. Okay. If you want, what you can do, so as of now, if you see this, I'll put a breakpoint over here, right? I'll put a breakpoint over here. Click on execute button. I try to click on this show text input. Try to see this screen group. Try to screen this screen active. Okay, just try to see the screen group 1. Now press F5. You see there are many entries in this table, in the screen internal table. You cannot there are many entries in this table. So you see this has many fields. You can see the screen. It has name, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. We have required, input, output, intensified, invisible, length, active. Okay, so these are all the different options available inside the internal table called screen, and we will use only which is required to us. Okay, we'll use only which is required to us. So that's how the understanding is. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get the screen group MD1. Let us debug. Okay, so it will take some time, but better what I will do, I will put breakpoint inside this. When I put breakpoint inside this and click on execute button, it will stop there. You see now the screen group is now MD1. Okay, and the screen active. Look here. What is the screen active? It is now set to 1. Means already previously there were some for the screen different fields. It was value was 1. The same is now available over here. I'm saying it as 1. Say modify screen. Okay. Now click on execute button. I'll put a breakpoint here. Okay, click on execute button. You see this output. Now I uncheck this. Let us see what happens. When I unchecked it, it will be here. You see screen group equal to MD1. We are in the else part. You see your control is here. It will now make the screen field as 0, active equal to 0. When you say make active equal to 0, it means hide the field. You are modifying the screen. Click on execute button. You see, it's gone. Similarly, if you want any additional field over here, let us suppose on the selection screen, let us suppose I will take one more parameter. Okay, I will try to take one more parameter. I say comma and I will try to take one more parameter, p underscore text1. Let me take it as text1. Again, this also type C modification. I am putting it in the same group. You try to activate this. Try to activate this. Okay, so I go to text elements. I try to change the I say here enter text in second field. Okay, I try to provide this text over here for second field. Now go back, right? So it is active in the active mode. Go back. I try to remove the breakpoints. I don't want to disturb or flow. Okay, try to execute it. You see, I click on show text. You see now, 2 text boxes are available. Now I click on this. It's gone. It means the screen group is MD1. Okay, for this, what is the understanding here? The understanding is for this fields, the screen group is given as MD1. It means it can have any number of fields inside this. It can be a select options, it can be a checkbox, it can be a push button, it can be a parameter. Any number of fields within this screen group will be responsive to this text show text input. Okay, if you click, if you check it, anything in this available here will display. If you uncheck this, anything in this text will not display. That is hide or unhide concept. Okay, so these kind of dynamic screen changes can be possible with respect to a selection screen output. Okay, so this is very important to us. We will work on more examples with respect to the selection screen output. Okay, so that's about selection screen output event. Now, next, we'll go to the next event. At selection screen on value request, at selection screen on value request. So when you say on selection screen on value request, this is simple, like showing the values to that respective field. It means, what do you mean by showing the values with respect to that field? So it means when I go to this example, a selection screen on value request, see. Okay, so when we talk about this selection screen on a value request, it means, see, this is the material number, right? This is a material number. When you click on F4 here, when you click on F4, it will pull the data corresponding to that F4 search help. It will pull the data corresponding to the F4 search help. So it means what? It means this field will have some data internally. This field will have some data internally. So when I click on this option, when I click on this, it will fetch the relevant data and it will show to me here in the output. It will show to me here in the output. Okay, so that is what at selection screen on value request for field. For field means, in this example, material number is my field. Material number is my field. Okay, so it means, if you see here, we'll write like this: at selection screen on value request for P underscore matter. At selection screen and value request for P underscore matter. We will write like this. Okay, we basically write like this. So corresponding to that, we will write the logic that I'll show you. Okay, but the understanding is, if you want some values to be available to that respective field, it has to pick from the backend and show to the user for selection. Then we will make use of this value request. So basically, what happens in case of this value request, whenever you press on the F4 for the respective field, this event will be triggered, and internally in the event, we will try to pull the data and show it in the output. Okay, that example I will tell you later. So this is about the selection screen on value request for that respective field. Now, coming to the next one, the next one is very important, the start of selection. So the start of selection event, if you see the start of selection, this is the start of selection of the event. Okay, start of selection. The start of selection event will tell you basically like the main place or the main area from where your database operations will start working. It means the start of selection, nothing but your selection of the data from the database tables. So all the database relevant queries you will write in the start of selection. You will write in the start of selection, and under this event, you will write these queries, and your data will start fetching with respect to that event. Okay, so this is start of selection, and you have the event called end of selection. It means where your database is starting hitting the, where your select queries are start hitting the database, and where it is ending, you will just specify that. That's it. Okay, start of selection will have a end of selection. Start of selection will have a end of selection. Within start of selection and end of selection, you will write all your database relevant select queries. Okay, it's a very simple event. Now that's about the selection, start of selection. End of selection, I told you already, right? So it will, where you stop your end, where you stop the end of selecting the data is your end of selection. Next, the next event is top of page. This top of page is basically useful for printing the headers on in your classical reports. It will print the lines whichever you want on the top of the page. Okay, on the top of the page, which are the lines you want to, you will just try to print it on the at that respective on the top of the page. You see here, I'm printing top of page. This is the event called top of page. I am printing company code, vendor, some purchase organization, some information I'm trying to print on the top of the page. Okay, so when you try to click on this, Okay, and when you try to execute the data, you see this is called the top of page. This one is there, right? So basically, I used here an example for the columns of this data, but basically, you can view the information of the report, that who is the report name, what is the user, who is the user, and what is the purpose of this report. All those informations you can print over here. Okay, so you can also print the, you can print the relevant information corresponding to this report. Okay, so that's about top of page. Next, when you come to the end of the page, okay, when you come to the end of the page, so there are many records over here. So when you click on this end last page, let's go to the last page. Okay, so this is the top of page. So end of the page, you can see here. You can see here example of the classical report events. So this is actually the last page. This is actually the last page. That is the reason why you are seeing this example on classical report events. Okay, you can see here the date like 26/04/2024 is printed on the output. You can see the end of the page events. Give me a moment to go back. In the end of the page, this is the top of the page. And when we talk about the end of the page, you see end of the page, I am saying example on the classical report events. We are printing the page number, we are printing the date. So that is what you are seeing in the output. So click on execute button. I say page down here. I say page down, page down, page down, page down. You can see example on classical report events. So end of the first page. At the end of the first page, see this will trigger at end of the every page. Okay, so you can see example of the classical report event. So page number 1, 26/04/2025. Now I press down, it goes to the second page. First page is over, it is going to the second page. So at the end of the second page, I am trying to print this, but observe here, we can adjust this. You can see after this end of the page also we are seeing the data, but this can be adjusted. There is a concept that we can adjust corresponding to that I will show you or tell you later. You can see example on the classical report events. 2 stands for the page number 2, and this stands for the date 26/04/2025. This is the date. Okay, this is about the end of the report. I mean end of page event. End of page event. Okay, so these are all the examples corresponding to your classical reports, right? So we have seen initialization, we have seen net selection screen, we have seen net selection screen output, which is dynamically changing the report output. We have seen net selection screen on value request. I will tell you an example for this. Start of selection we have seen, end of selection we have seen, top of page we have seen, end of page we have seen. So out of all this, I should tell you about a selection screen on value request for field. I'll create a program for this and I will make you understand about this concept. Okay, so in tomorrow's session, we will look after this interactive reporting, and we will look the examples corresponding to the interactive report events. Okay, so there's a program already available for you to look into the classical report events, which is you can see here SAP ABAP batch 1 underscore classical report, the RPT underscore events. So you can refer to this program for your understanding.